Hello, everyone. IMS welcomes you all to the webinar series, Future You, Set Your Career Compass Right with Experts Insight. And I'm Kalyani, your host for this webinar. So today on our second episode of Careers in Marketing, the topic is Build a Career in FMCG with our speaker, Preeti Puram. She is Regional Sales Manager, Modern Trade and E-Commerce at ITC Limited. And she is also an FMS alumna. And in this webinar, you will find out about the career progression of the speaker at ITC, where to begin a career in marketing, how to grow in a firm in the field of marketing. Is a sales profile a must in order to excel in marketing role? What are the nuances of the marketing roles in FMCG industry? How does an MBA help in building a marketing career, and more? So welcome, Preeti Puram, and thank you so much for joining us for this session.
Thank you. Thank you for calling me Kalyani.
Yeah. So let's start from where it all began. So why and how did FMS happen? And was the career in marketing always part of your plan, or was this something that happened after you joined FMS?
Yeah. So I would say right from childhood, I was very interested in advertising. So my mom used to literally show me advertisements even in print or on TV, and that is how I used to even eat food. And as I grew up, I realized that going into a supermarket where I had a lot of choices, where I could pick up things and, look at them, it interested me. And I really liked doing all that. So I definitely had this idea that, like products, marketing is something I would definitely be interested in. And then I got into engineering. In engineering, there were a lot of people who were looking for an MBA. So it was a sense of pride that people used to have that, okay, after my engineering, I'm going into an MBA. So this alum went into this college, and that person has gotten into an IM or an FMS. For that matter. So that culture was always there in the college. So it sort of consolidated what I wanted to do. So that is how I tried for an MBA, and then that is how FMS happened.
Okay.
Already in my mind. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's talk about your career trajectory. Now, the thing is, you have been in this particular company, ITC, for quite some time, and you have kind of, you rose in this particular company. So can you take us through the career trajectory right from your days of management trainee, and how exactly ITC happened? Was this a placement opportunity that you have had? And then how did you grow, as in from account management to category marketing to category sales to your present particular folio? Yeah.
So in FMS, my summer internship was with Coca-Cola, HCCP.
Okay.
Bottling and distribution arm. So that was a day zero company. It was the first company. You don't think much. You just take in whatever the first company that comes in. So
correct. Yeah.
But the good part was they put me in a really good geography. So Andhra Pradesh, AP, so which is like the heartland of Thumbs Up.
Okay.
So that is where they put me, and that too during the peak season, which was summer, because that is when your cold drinks and beverages sell. So that was a really good experience, because everything that you were doing was going to have a direct impact on the sales.
Right.
That was and it was in Vijayawada, which is sort of a place that I used to go during my summer holidays to visit grandmom. So that was an added benefit. The food, everything was amazing. And I did really well in that. In 2 months, I sort of set up routes for their major. So basically, I set up routes for pre-sale.
Okay.
So earlier people used to go take a truck and then, try to sell the products. Here we used to take an order beforehand, and I had to set up that entire automation so that the deliveries are faster and efficient. So I did really well there, and I even ended up getting the best sales project.
Okay.
So that really, again, sort of gave me the confidence that this is the path that I should go on.
Right.
And I got a pre-placement offer from HCCB, but also during my college days, I had participated in Intro Bang, which is the ITC contest which they have in the campuses.
Okay.
So and we won that again, and I had again a pre-placement interview there. So I took the interview and got into ITC.
Okay, okay. So now tell us about how you have been in, like, mostly, if you see
the
these
second
days,
part of your question.
people keep jumping, after 1 year in particular brand, they keep in one particular firm, keep jumping, switching and all that. But you did not, and you stuck around and you kind of, went up. So I think, our audience would really like to know, where did you begin and how exactly, you went up? And also, we'll take the rest, as in the roles and responsibilities, one by one.
I will tell you how my journey went along. So to answer the basic question, so I kept getting different roles. I kept getting all India roles, and I had, I had roles where I had to look at different aspects of different categories, and I kept getting my promotions, my incentives, everything was going good. So I stuck around. And the company was giving me opportunities of changing my role every 2-3 years. And I had something really different to do. It wasn't like I was doing the same thing for 8 years. And it helped me grow as well. So that is the reason why I stuck around for so long. I will tell you how exactly I progressed. So first, I was a management trainee in the region of Coimbatore. So that is 1 year of intense looking at every product that ITC sells. So right from your foods, your personal care, even stationery, agarbatti, matches. So everything a stint for that, for every like a month or so for each of the categories, and also across the levels. So you start from a salesman. So you go along with the salesman in their cycles, or you walk along with them, go to the outlets, take orders, sell. From there, you go through the different. So from a salesman, from then you go to a team leader, then like an area executive, area manager, assistant. So all these roles you sort of shadow them or even perform them. For example, in my case, the AM was not, so area manager was not around for quite some time. But 5 whole months of actually handling a team of some 7-8 people.
Okay.
After the entire Coimbatore region. So that was a really good experience. So from there, my first post was in Calcutta, which is like the head office of ITC.
Okay.
There I was in a team called Category Development Management.
Okay.
So that is something.
So account management, when did you work as an account manager? Was that the one that you were talking
after
about?
That, yes.
Okay, after that. Okay.
So category development is something called as trade marketing. You are the liaison between the brand team and the sales team. So you sort of discuss with the brand team to understand what are the kind of products that you're going to bring into the market, which geography, what timing, and then you decide the pricing, the kind of like which geography should have which product, and what are the nuances in that. So that is the team I was in. So I was part of, like, I was the one who was spearheading the Savlon integration. So ITC bought Savlon from J&J, and we had integrated into ITC to have a portfolio in chemist and cosmetic channels.
Okay.
So so that was one. After that, I went into key account management, which is modern trade. So the earlier role was general trade. Okay. It is also known as traditional trade outside. So that is exactly what I'm saying. I work across channels, across products, across geographies. So that sort of interested. So key account management was in Mumbai. I was looking after Reliance Market. Right now it has become JioMart. Earlier it was a physical space where products used to be sold to trade. And then there was also this ABRL, which was Aditya Birla Retail, which converted to more. So I was looking after these accounts. So, and again, this was an all India role where I had to decide what products are going to be on the aisles in the outlet. So personal care, agarbatti, and matches.
Okay.
It was the second role that I did for 3 years. Then I got promoted. I went back to Calcutta head office as the sales and category development manager for agarbatti and matches. So I used to directly report to the national sales manager, and I got to decide exactly what was going to happen in agarbatti for the entire country.
Okay.
Agarbatti is a very, like, there's a lot of competition local.
Yes.
A market. So every 50 kilometers you move, your competition is entirely different. So that was a good challenge that I had. So I've come back to Mumbai after 3 years of that.
Yeah.
Again, I'm back in modern trade and e-commerce now.
Yeah. So can you explain a little bit about modern trade and e-commerce? And then, we'll again go back to all the different roles. Yeah.
All right. So modern trade is something, so the products are sold in a physical setup.
Okay. Yeah.
So for example, your Reliance Smart Outlet, or earlier we used to have the Big Bazaar, or we have more right now, or DMart. I'm sure DMart, a lot of people in southern parts of the country. So those are the accounts that you deal with when you're looking at modern trade. E-commerce is something. So I will come to. E-commerce is where you're ordering something online. They don't
Correct.
really have a physical setup. So you
Right.
have the entire all the products listed on a particular site. You order them, then they get delivered to you through third-party delivery service.
Okay. Yeah.
So there is a third thing called omni-channel. So for example, Reliance, it also has a physical presence and a online presence. So
Correct.
JioMart is their online, and Reliance Smart and Reliance Fresh are their offline, like brick and mortar
Brick and
presence.
mortar. Right.
So now every account is moving towards this omnipresence because kinds of consumers. So there are
Correct.
consumers who want to go to the outlet, have a look and feel of the product. There are others who have already done it. They don't have the time to actually go to an outlet, and they are very sure that this is the brand that I'm looking at. They choose things on e-commerce, or they want to explore and look at the larger variety that they might not find in a physical setup on e-commerce.
Okay.
So people have to get into omni right now, so that they can cater to every consumer.
Correct. Yeah. So tell me about in the FMCG industry, as a marketing person, what are these, since the change, I mean, since you have already seen, you have worked in all in brick and mortar as well as e-commerce and all that, you've seen all the changes too. So what do you think, how the rules are changing in marketing, within marketing, because of this, with e-commerce? Do you think, brick and mortar and all that will become irrelevant in some time, or it's going to stay? And how exactly the new age marketing professionals who are going to come out, let's say after in 2 years time, how are they going to, what are the challenges that they are going to be facing when they get into this?
So when we had got, so 9 years back when I had got into ITC, so it was all about traditional trade. Correct. Which is about going to the kirana outlet, going to them, showing the product, getting them into, converting them and selling them the product. So that was the major aspect, the major challenge. But now over the last few years, at least in the past 5 years, we have seen, past 5 to 7 years, we have seen modern trade really becoming big. Right. Modern trade is like your organized retail, when you have huge outlets selling all kinds of things, and you go choose what you want to look at. So the entire aspect of shopper marketing has become really big now. Okay. So you have to understand, like, eye level, like if a product is placed at eye level, then there are more chances of people looking at it and picking it up. You understand how the flow of that consumer happens through the outlet. So if you keep it right next to the entrance, it's called your blind spot. So you might not even look at it. Right. So those kind of things is what you concentrate. In a kirana outlet, you are not really looking at it. At max,
everything is there.
Yeah. So you're retailer dependent. So if the retailer thing, you ask for the retailer for suggestions. Okay, what do you think I should buy? I want a good detergent. So he decides which one. Or you are really very like nahi mujhe wahi chahiye. Kind of things. In a modern trade, the consumer can decide on his own. He can compare prices right there because all the prices are listed there. So that is something that has happened in the past, especially during the pandemic. I think e-commerce has really grown. Yes, yeah. Because people had to sit in the house and they had to order things. Even parents of like people of my parents' generation, they got it to e-commerce. So correct. Mother really likes JioMart. Okay. The lowest prices. I don't have to go out of the house. It just gets delivered to my place. So that is the convenience that people have discovered. Correct. And pandemic has actually helped in the adoption of that channel. Okay, but tell me something. As who looks after, and how exactly, is there like a lot of data that is available that a marketing professional has to study when they are deciding where the products are placed? And as in, is that a job of the category salesperson? Yes. Who is basically looking at milk and all? I've mostly seen almost in all huge big marts and all, things like rice and stuff and all that you anyway need is always usually at the back of because everybody needs to go there because they need to buy all those things like grains and stuff. So is that the reason why all the fancy stuff is right there where in the front? And so how did is that the only role? What all does it encompass, a category sales manager? What all? So what you're describing is called a shopper marketing. Okay. So if you look at MNCs, they have an entirely different team who looks after shopper marketing and the insights.
Okay.
So the Indian companies are still evolving. They don't really have a different team right now,
Right.
but it comes under the purview of category management who decides, and like the merchandising, the people who handle merchandisers. So there are people in the outlet who keep stocking. So every time a consumer picks up something, it has to be refilled. Otherwise, the aisle looks empty, and people would be like, okay, there's something wrong with it, and they move ahead. So to take care of that, you have somebody called as merchandiser, or a promoter for that matter, who stands there and explains the product.
Right.
So that entire science of keeping the essentials at the back of the outlet, so that people go through that entire road to reach there, and on the way, that comes under shopper marketing.
Okay.
So, and I'm very sure it is going to become a really big discipline in India.
Yeah.
It is already there, but it will just become bigger, because more and more people convert from general trade into traditional trade into modern trade. So that becomes more and more important.
Okay.
How do you increase sales? It's there, like the consumer. How do you induce the consumer to pick up your product and buy it?
Exactly. Yeah. And okay. And then what exactly does an account manager do? Yeah.
Okay. So it's
a key account manager. Yes. Yeah.
Called a CAM.
Yeah.
So people call the role a CAM.
Correct. Yeah.
As a key account manager, you are the SPOC, like the single point of contact for an account. So for example, you're looking after Reliance.
Okay.
That person, you are anything and everything ITC. And you handle a set of portfolio, like it can be the entire company's portfolio depending on the size of your company. So ITC deals with a lot of things, so foods, personal care, and all that. That is why you have different stocks for each of the categories, so that you're talking to different people in Reliance, for example. Okay. So Reliance has people called as buyers. So these are the people who will talk to the different companies and ensure that the products are placed in the outlet for consumers to buy.
Okay.
I, as a key account manager, deal with everything that Reliance needs from me as ITC.
Okay.
Right from the promotions, like what kind of offer should go, like for a particular product, 20 rupees should be off, 30 rupees should be off. When should it run? Should it run during big day events, which is around, or during January 26th, or what should the normal promotions? So look at visibility. So for example, if you go to a Reliance, you will see huge. So there is something called as end cap. So end cap is at the end of the aisle where you put only your products.
Okay.
So you give money, so you sort of give money to ensure that you can put up your merchandising elements, like some cardboard thing or shelf strips, saying that, okay, this is ITC, this is this particular product. So those kind of things, we decide on the visibility. How many outlets, with geographies, how much space are we going to take up? Because if everything is just put there, like how do you promote your product in the outlet? Yeah. Everything is in an aisle. So you have to showcase your product better. Okay. And all that costs money. Yes. You have a certain budget for promotions, visibility. So you understand how much visibility should I plan, what kind of promotions I should run. I'll get a budget from the category team. And then I decide everything in the outlet, right from assortment, like what are the kind of like SKU stock keeping unit, what kind of products I'm going to keep in this particular outlet, because this outlet has a certain kind of a neighborhood. Right. Consumer profile do we have? Is the consumer looking at more variants, like for Shahjal, for example? Is he different kinds of variants, variety?
But tell me something, isn't this a lot like overlapping with brand management? No.
Brand management is more about the kind of campaigns you're going to run.
Okay, only the campaign bits, but not about the presence.
No, this is there is an overlap definitely, because you decide all this in conjunction with the brand team. Correct. So the brand team is about, so the major task is to create the product. Obviously, they're taking a lot of inputs from the field team, saying, okay, there is a requirement for this kind of a product, and then they might create it, or they might, innovate and come up with a new product. Okay. So they are creating the product. They're deciding on what kind of, like what kind of margins we have, what kind of profits we are making. So that is entirely up to the brand team. So after deciding all that, they say, okay, this is the budget I can use to promote this product. As a CAM, I will use that budget and decide what to do. Okay.
So basically, a brand management team has to work very closely with the key account management team, because obviously, if they're branding something and if there is like some thing they're
Correct. So
selling,
the
it
element.
should
So,
be available also in those.
correct, exactly.
Yeah.
So as a key
Correct,
account manager,
yeah.
I have to ensure that I have given my stock requirement.
Yes,
So I am
yeah.
planning ki, okay, in this particular account. So the planning happens at least 2 months beforehand.
Right, like before Diwali, for example,
correct.
so the branding has to go hand in hand with the availability as well in all those places, right?
Exactly.
So that's the key account managers.
Yes, yes. I have to look after the
Hmm.
plan. So after deciding all these elements, the visibility and promo, I talk to the account and understand what is the kind of stocks or business that they're looking at.
Correct.
So once they give me that allocation, okay, I'm looking at this many pieces in this particular state. So once they give me that allocation, I have to go back to the production team. I don't directly talk to the production team. I'll go to the category development team. So they will be the liars.
Okay. Got it.
So and then that production needs to happen and it needs to come at a certain time, so that if I'm looking at August 15, the stocks, the loading takes place in July week 3, week 4.
Okay.
So that the products have reached Reliance's own distribution centers, and they are able to take enough time and send everything to the outlets when August 15 event starts.
So does this also work the same way as in the steps? Do they work the same way even in e-commerce for the product and, for all this availability of the product and everything like the...
So e-commerce is slightly faster because you just have to send it to a certain, like a distribution center.
Okay.
You have to, again send it to different outlets.
Correct.
So the stock has reached the account, and then they can, depending on the orders, they can decide where to send it.
Okay.
So, but the entire planning cycle remains the same. There, the visibility elements and promo elements are entirely different. Because the visibility, you don't have a physical space to dress up. So you have something called as banners.
Yes.
So when you click on their site, you see banners in front, showcasing different products, and there's a carousel which keeps going. So those are the elements you buy. You also buy search optimization. So if I want to buy atta, if I write atta, my product should come first.
Yes, correct. Got it. Okay, so now our attendees are mostly the ones who will be taking CAT this year or next year, and obviously everybody has this thing like, okay, if I'm choosing marketing as my area, do I really have to do sales beforehand? So post MBA, how much sales profile, how much it is, how important it is to have a sales profile, and is it a must that you have to start from sales and then only get into marketing?
So I know a lot of cases who right out of college got into brand teams, so that does happen.
Okay.
So there are companies who open brand profiles when they come for recruitment in the into the colleges as such.
Okay.
But personally, if you ask me, I have a bias for understanding what's happening on the ground level.
Yes.
So once you get into a sales profile, so you understand exactly what's happening on the ground. So you understand the impact of decisions that are being taken in our office and how they are playing out. So I won't say that you have to do a sales profile, but you definitely need to have an understanding of how things are translating on the ground.
So would you say that sales is actually kind of the building block?
Definitely.
For marketing.
I would call it your foundation.
Yes. Okay.
There could be other people who have gotten into brands, but they have done a lot of market, work, market visits and all, and they have got those insights. But I would still say, unless and until you are at the receiving end of what's happening from the marketing.
It's difficult to really put yourself in those shoes and then think like that.
Correct. So I would say a sales role is definitely the foundation. Even if you find yourself in marketing, I think you should at least for a couple of years, you should come down and see what's happening and how things are translating at the ground level, so that you have better insights when you plan your own campaign.
Okay, so we'll continue with this conversation in a bit. We'll just take a few questions from our attendees. Good morning, ma'am. I am preparing for CAT right now. My question is, how can I know that marketing is the most suitable field I can pursue? If you can also give us your, of course, you started very early that, you just knew you love marketing. But for those people who kind of also like finance or can also dabble with everything else, how do you decide that, okay, marketing is my thing?
So see, marketing, there are a few qualities that you should have. which will keep you in good stead. So
yeah,
maybe,
so let's talk about the core skills, like
yeah.
maybe three hard skills and three soft skills that you require
Okay.
to excel.
All right.
Yeah.
So before hard skills, obviously you will develop once you are into the job.
Okay.
So before you can decide all that, you should just see if you have these particular qualities.
Okay.
So first thing I would say curiosity.
Mm.
I think you would not exactly be in metros all the time. You might be in some village or a very small area, like a 10 lakh population, or like a 5 lakh population, or even lower.
Okay.
So are you comfortable? Do you have the capability to go sit there, adjust, and actually do a job out there?
Okay.
So are you curious? Do you want to travel to different places? So for example, I was just for the first time, just 2 days back, I was in Raipur. I had never visited Raipur. So I was really excited about seeing the place other than doing my own work. So that keeps you going. Otherwise, if you're not the sort who want to, who is not curious about things, it becomes a drag. You're like, "Arey, Raipur kaun jayega?" Who goes to Raipur? It should that is one thing you should definitely have. Understand if you have the curiosity and the required, there will be travel.
Okay.
Will definitely be traveling unless and until you, even for maybe your e-commerce role might not require that kind of traveling, but there will be some amount of traveling. Just look at that. The second thing I would say is communication, because there'll be a lot of translating strategy for your team.
Right.
Because a certain strategy will come from the brand team, a certain strategy will come from the national sales manager. So you should be able to make it palatable enough for people on the ground for them to execute it. So you understand, okay, this is the vision of the company, this is why they're saying this, but you have to convert it into something that people on the ground will actually relate to.
Correct.
And implement, because execution happens at the ground level. You can sit and make all your strategies, but unless and until people here are convinced, nothing is going to happen. So communication skills for sure. And third thing would be people management. There'll be a lot of people reporting to you. You will be talking to a lot of stakeholders. So there are as you had rightly pointed out. So is it not something brand team will do overlapping? There'll be a lot of overlap.
Correct.
So you have to liaise with a lot of people. So production, supply chain, you have your brand team, you have your category development, you have your own teams. There are different channels in that. So there'll be a lot of talking to a lot of people.
Okay.
And coordinating and collaborating. So that is another thing. People, you should find with people.
So do you think for a person, there's a question about, somebody who's asking, what about people, who are introverted? Is marketing not for them?
No. Introversion, extroversion doesn't play a role at all. You can be an introvert and still talk to people. It's not like you have to go there and do small talk.
Exactly. Yes.
So even if you're introverted, if there is work, I'm sure you can talk. So I think introversion comes more of, how do I approach new people and what do I talk to them?
Right. Yeah.
I think that is the fear mostly, but you have work, you know what to speak to. I'm sure introverts manage really well, and they are much more insightful as well.
Correct. Yeah.
So they can come and think.
And their research oriented brain will also kind of, help them to, get to those numbers and those statistics.
Definitely. So once you go to a meeting, and if you have the right research and the data, you being an introvert or extrovert or not being able to do small talk should not matter. So that should not keep people away from the sales.
So I hope your question has been answered. So do not worry if you are interested in marketing. Please go ahead. Don't think about all these things. Okay. Also, there was a question about in places like DMart. Is there a competition between brands to get the best visibility, or does the outlet itself chooses which one to put in the best visibility?
Right. So DMart would be a wrong example because they have entirely done away with the whole visibility part of it. So like they
order and they have those little places where you pick it up from.
They have a very different philosophy. They believe in the lowest rate.
Okay.
So there only two kinds of products get into DMart. One, you have the lowest rate, or there is so much demand from the consumers that you have to.
Okay.
So let me take another example of Reliance maybe. So Reliance is very heavily into visibility. Okay. So the brands fight. So when I was a key account manager, I used to make my plans as early as possible so that I could get the prime spots and in the right outlets.
Okay.
So there's a proper tussle between the different brands.
Okay,
You have to close the plans as early as possible, so that you get the prime spots for sure.
So who is that person from that particular firm? I mean, what's that person's role?
They are called category managers.
Okay, so they are the ones who will come and fight for their, like, यहाँ पे क्यों नहीं है, वहाँ पे क्यों है, मेरा वाला पीछे क्यों है?
Of course,
is that person's job?
Okay. There's this whole fight for the eye level.
Yeah.
So you have to give a better margin to them so that they keep you at the eye level.
Right.
So there are also properties like, focus, like hotspots. You might have seen in Reliance, there is a whole aisle called hotspot, where if you are giving really good discounts, they'll keep you there. And then they will ensure enough, stocks. So there's pretty much a bidding or an auction kind of a thing that goes on every month. So you have to go to the account saying, I'm giving you the best possible offer. You have to So there's a proper tussle, and everything is based on your relationship with the account.
I'm doing BBA in retail management. FMCG is the best industry for that. Is FMCG the best industry for that?
Retail management. So retail management would obviously entail being at an outlet and selling your stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
So FMCG is something that is going to be here for all time. So that is so FMCG is like the base, your foundation. Again, as I'm saying, sales is your foundation. FMCG is also something which is going to stay. So even during pandemic, if you see, FMCG companies did pretty well. Actually, I was in agarbatti and matches, and we were sort of afraid like people would concentrate only on like foods or something. They would concentrate on essential, but agarbatti grew in double digits.
Okay.
Yeah. So FMCG is a safe option, I would say. Otherwise, retail could be what if you are looking at cars or like automobiles. So I'm assuming if you do retail, you could go into that as well. You can definitely go into that, but FMCG is a safe option, which is sort of like it won't get as affected as other industries.
Correct.
I will not discourage you from going into other sectors. I will not.
Yeah. Okay. I would like to know if you could shed some light on how to upskill oneself as an MBA aspirant. So this person is interested in charting a career in marketing, and they want to know, how do you upskill your resume, as in, some more talking points, probably, or any certifications that they can do, which industries besides FMCG are good for marketing. Of course, marketing is a very broad umbrella. Everything has marketing somewhere connected. So you can work wherever, in whatever interests you. But what about certifications and profile building, as in more talking points, especially if the person is a fresher and is planning to pursue an MBA? Then how do they build their profile so that at least they have some talking points?
So there are two aspects to it. One, I would say, is the conceptual aspect. The other would be the practical aspect.
Okay.
So to learn concepts about your brand management, your sales force management, your marketing. So these you definitely would have courses. So you can do those courses. You will understand the concepts, like the theory part.
Correct.
You can definitely do them. They will give you talking points. But there is also a practical part of it, which is equally important. I would look at live projects. I would look at your internships, because you will get exposure. So even your competition. So for example, the ITC intro bank competition that I'm talking about, but like literally a whole month we were running around understanding how does Big Boss sell, because the project was on that.
Okay.
So that gives you a lot of insight. It gives you practical insights. So these are the avenues that you have, both on conceptual end and the practical end. And doing only one and not doing the other will not help. You should ideally do both to get a holistic view of what marketing is as such.
Okay. What kind of profiles or roles do we work as after doing an MBA in marketing?
All right. Okay. So there are different profiles that you can have. One is sales. You can become also it depends on the college that you're doing it from, but I'll come to that later. So you will be given a certain geography, and you will be responsible for sales of the company's products in that particular geography. It's proper sales role. Then you have the category development or trade marketing kind of a role, where you are, as I said, liaison between the brand team and the ground force. You're telling people, okay, this is your target. You're telling people, this is how you should go about things. This is your strategy. You should look at this kind of a growth in this channel. So those kind of things. Pricing. Then you have roles which is proper branding. You are in the brand team. You are deciding which agency to work with. What is your brief? Okay. So when I was a kid, I used to think that if I get into marketing, I will decide which actor is taken and what that and all that.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you will be working with marketing agencies who will decide on, look at your budget and give you options. Okay, these are the people that you can take at this budget.
Okay.
So you will be working a lot with marketing agencies, also production, because you have to create the product and package it. You'll be looking at how much packaging material I have, raw material that I have. So all those things you'll be looking at so that you can give it to the sales team to sell.
Okay.
That is the third profile you can look at. And then there are newer profiles, like you can get into like a digital marketing kind of a thing. If you have that inclination that you want to, you have done a lot of courses of Google search and those kind of things. So those are new profiles that are opening up. Now this is like broad. Now also depending on your college. So if you are from a top tier college, you are at least some 4 levels above, compared to what you would do if you're from a lower rung college, like a tier 3, tier 4 kind of a college. So for example, if a tier 3 kind of person is looking after a certain city, then the next person, the next higher up tier will be looking after a few cities. Then the next person would be district. Then the next person would be like a state.
Okay.
So if I am from a tier 1 kind of a college, I will be looking at, I will start from a state instead of going through all the levels.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay, and let's talk a little bit about your regional sales manager profile, responsibilities, roles, and since it's a lot of things that you're doing. So so maybe the roles and responsibilities, and how do you really? I mean, you have to travel a lot, I'm guessing. Yeah. So how do you balance a work life? I mean, how do you?
There's a lot of questions. Okay, first I'll start.
Okay, First start with regional sales manager and your roles and responsibilities. Then we can talk about that.
All right. So as a regional sales manager, I look after certain region. So I look after the whole of West region, which is a lot of states like Gujarat, Maharashtra, MP, Chhattisgarh, Goa. So all these states, I look after sales of every product that is in ITC portfolio, in modern trade and e-commerce channels.
Okay.
So then I'll have a counterpart who will be based on, for example, for traditional trade, there would be a different person for personal care, there would be a different person for foods, different person for cigarettes and stationery products as well. But in modern trade, since it's a smaller channel compared to traditional trade, I look after everything other than stationery.
Okay.
So that is the basic rule. So I'll have people in different states looking after that particular area, and I have to ensure that I'm managing sales for all of them.
Right.
They'll have their own teams who will do their execution. So it's like ground level, next level, state level, and then. So that is how it works. Okay. So I have to decide a certain strategy comes from the head office. Okay. This year you have to grow by this much. So I have to take that particular target and understand which region will give me what kind of sales, what kind of growth, what are the growth drivers in each of these regions.
Okay.
In e-commerce, what are the products that I'll be playing at? Because there's no region. The region is sort of agnostic for e-commerce.
Okay.
Because once I give it in Mumbai, wherever the orders are coming from, they will just take it. So there it is more about product strategy. Here it is about geography into product into channels kind of strategy.
Okay.
For example, there is something called as like B2B, B2C. So B2B is where you're directly dealing with trade. You have something called as Udan, you have something called as Geomart B2B, which will directly talk to the trade. Then you have something called as retail, talking to the consumer. So on all these, like moving parts, you have to decide what will do what. And every month you're tracking those sales. That is point number one.
Correct.
Second point is, so the selling, like if I'm a key account manager, I'll just get some orders out and I will tell my team, RSM team, please go and deliver it. Now I have to ensure that people are delivering, the stock is going into the accounts distribution center.
Okay.
So for that, they give something called as appointments. I have to ensure that trucks are getting loaded with the stocks and going out there. The appointments getting That's a huge operation part of it.
Okay.
Sales, targets, operations, and then obviously I handle the team of promoters and merchandisers. So I sort of through my team give them incentives. Okay, for this month, this is your focus product. If you do sales on, like you have incentives and this is the kind of sales you do, you get, you will be called the promoter of the month and all those things.
Okay.
That is the other market, the other aspect, the shopper marketing.
Okay. Okay.
So these three are my primary aspects. Then obviously there is this whole stock because there are certain products which are like hotcakes and the entire country is fighting for them.
Okay.
Like even within ITC. So I have to ensure that my region is getting its fair share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have to provide.
For example, like, if you can.
So there is something called as dark fantasy chocofills.
Yes.
Everybody knows about it, and we had Alia Bhatt, coming in ads for that. So those stocks like really sell like hotcakes, and there is only a limited production capacity, and it will increase only in a certain pace, at a certain pace. It won't be like kal mere ko itna maal chahiye, and it won't just start coming in. So there's a lot of planning involved in that. So first I have to discuss with my team what are the kind of plans that your accounts are going to have, what kind of quantities they're going to be looking at 2 months later.
Okay.
So those are the conversations my team will have. They'll come back to me and say if these are the kind of stocks that will require for this particular plan. And I have to consolidate them, go back to the production, the category development team, tell them, okay, these are the stocks I need to have. Right. And if they say, no, there are production constraints and all, then we're like, no, we are giving you guaranteed sales. So you have to get the stock to me. So stock management is
Okay. Yeah. Now,
there are more,
but you're doing a lot. So where's the work-life balance? That's why this was the second question because of that. That if there's so much to do.
So there are a lot of moving parts to the role. So that is exactly why you need a certain maturity, and you should have done all this at a lower scale.
Correct.
Or like for example, I'm handling all the products. So ideally, I should have done these roles for a set of products. So for example, I did only for agarbatti and matches for the entire country. So, and before that, I was looking at only a few set of accounts, like 3 accounts, but a certain kind of portfolio. So once you have done those, you understand how to what do you call it? Like you understand when things are going wrong. Basically, you have to have certain systems and processes in place, which tell you that okay, things are going smooth right now, and things are going to go into trouble in a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get that intuition.
Okay. Okay. Is that also a skill set that one should have ideally?
No, that will come with, I think that will come with experience. Yeah. That is something you totally develop with experience. Like if a fresher comes and sits in this role, he will have trouble. He or she will get really overwhelmed.
Okay.
So it comes with experience for sure.
Okay. Let's take a few questions again. Okay, I'm working as an account manager already after, I think, key account manager already after completing my UG, now studying for CAT to enter marketing. As suggestion needed to know what do I do to improve my career growth and salary package apart from MBA in an elite institution, and what skills to learn apart from negotiation and analyzing data. I think analyzing data would come in under your hard course.
Yes.
As in marketing does need number. You have to work with numbers, right? I mean, a lot of people think like, okay, maybe finance is a lot more with numbers, maybe this is not, but yeah, you have to work with a lot of analytics and data and everything, right?
So in finance, a lot of your time will be with numbers. In marketing, you'll be doing a lot of other things other than
numbers. Okay.
So you have to have, you can't be afraid of numbers.
So there's no escape from numbers.
Okay. So it's not about you should be good at calculating 20 plus 45 kitna hota hai. That is not the kind of that is what you should be good at. You should be able to analyze. There will be a lot of data coming.
Okay.
Because like this particular state, how much is it selling? This particular salesman, how much is he selling? How many outlets is this person going to? There'll be a lot of data and there'll be a lot of analysis. So more than in a selling profile, if you're going into a planning profile, there'll be a lot of data.
Okay.
Because you have to decide how to go about your next month strategy depending on what has happened in the previous month or what are you expecting to happen going ahead. So so for example, in my agarbatti profile, I used to be aware of when are the seasons coming in, when is the festive season, which region has which particular festival.
Correct.
And I also had to be aware of what kind of monsoons have happened.
Yes.
Are there any irregular monsoons? Are there any floods coming in this part of the country? So I know this part of the country is not going to give me sales. So urgently, I have to ensure that I'm giving targets for the rest of the country. Like, okay, because this part is going to get get the numbers down. You have to pull them up.
So this year, the kind of challenges that we have faced with the monsoon.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
I know Assam is not going to give me any sales for the month or so because I know the floods are. So I have to be sure that other people are pulling up their numbers.
Right.
So numbers are a very integral part of sales. You have to know because people will talk margins. People will talk about sales. Okay, I do 5 crores. How much do you do? So there'll be a lot of numbers, and and it's not exactly something is very difficult. You just have to get used to it, and you just have to be open about it. And it's not like nobody's asking you to calculate.
Yeah.
You can use an Excel sheet and do this. I will ask people not to get again, the introvert extrovert thing. Similarly, this again is a myth. This is something you can train yourself to do.
Correct. Yeah.
So about the question as such, I'll go back to the same thing, the conceptual and the practical parts of it. I think live projects and internships especially and put you right at where the action is. Ensure that you're getting into companies who are serious about your internship and they're really looking for some value from you.
Correct.
Please work with those companies sitting on a bench and not doing and being an intern just on paper is not going to. You have to be in the thick of action.
Okay. There's a question about I come from Vijayawada. I'm preparing for CAT. Tell me some of the best schools for MBA in marketing.
I don't know if I'm the best person to answer.
Yeah, so you can just Dhansai, you can check IMS website. We have actually given the entire all the details there as according to the ranks, the eliteness, and of course also the fees and everything else and the ROIs. So you'll be able to figure it out which one is best. Of course, right now you should concentrate on CAT.
So I would say the top 15 schools that you have will land you in a very good company.
Correct.
I'm not really sure about the others.
Yeah.
So as I said, it will entirely depend. So the tier of your college will decide which level you start from.
Right. Correct.
And it does make a huge difference because I know a lot of people who are very capable, but they didn't work at the right time, didn't apply their minds at the right time, and they are at a lower round right now. And they regret it. Every promotion, they regret it. Okay.
Yes.
Had I put in work at that particular point of time, I would have already reached this level, which I'm taking so much time to reach.
Correct.
For example, to be an RSM, I took, so even the other role was at the same level. So I took some 6-7 years.
Yeah.
But I know people who start from lower ranks who take at least 15 to 20 years to come.
Correct.
So it entirely depends on the tier of your college. So I would say prepare well and give a good shot, the best shot for the CAT exam that you're going to take.
Yeah. So tell me what any particular challenge that just pops up in your head as in FMCG that you've faced, something more recent or something that you can share, and how did you overcome it? What are the kind of challenges that you probably face?
I'll go back to Agarbatti because I just shifted 3 months before.
Okay.
So as I was telling you earlier, we just assumed that Agarbatti is not going to sell initially, initial weeks of April, because people were just hoarding food.
Yes.
Because that was something on people's minds. But that was a time when we actually hunker down and, try to understand what is the kind of scenarios we might face for the, next 2 months, next 3 months, next 6 months. Like we couldn't just be like, okay, Agarbatti is not selling, we'll do nothing.
Yeah.
So we had to immediately change our entire strategy. So earlier we used to play on premium agarbatti because ITC quality premium agarbatti. So that entire strategy of the year was based on how to sell premium and popular kind of agarbattis. Then we realized that during pandemic, people would be more interested in value for money. So they would want bigger packs. They don't want to go outside a lot of times. They want to go buy as much as they can, have their quality and come back. So we immediately started shifting into like bigger packs, like 50 rupee packs from the earlier 10 rupee packs, because agarbatti people just go buy 10 rupee packs and come back.
Correct. Yeah.
Every time they go, they can just buy it. Then people started shifting towards 100 sticks, 50 rupees, and value for money. They were not looking at premium. They wanted quality, but they didn't want to spend that kind of money on this category.
Okay.
So those kind of strategies we had to, like relearn and, sort of work upon. So we assumed, okay, this is how it's going to do. Then also there is this competition aspect.
Okay.
So Agarbatti, it is extremely fragmented. There you'll have, as I said, there are competition galore. Like anybody can just start up an Agarbatti unit and start off with it.
Correct.
So, but during pandemic, people didn't have the money or the labor who would actually come and do those things. It sort of opened up the field for the brands, because so for example, ITC also sells Savlon. So during those times,
Savlon was, of course,
ASL, and the same infrastructure, sales infrastructure, which used to sell Savlon, also used to sell Agarbatti. So we could piggyback on that and increase our availability, because others were not even able to get their product into the market.
Correct.
Because of these restrictions.
Yeah.
So it sort of gave us an advantage. So we looked at that silver lining and just looked at sending out lower products, like lesser price products, and distributing them. And from there, we increased our strategy.
Okay. So basically, looking at an adverse situation and
FMCG,
taking it as an opportunity.
Exactly. We took it as an opportunity, and we actually went into double-digit growths, which were unheard of.
Very
So
nice.
FMCG is very dynamic. Everything will affect you. Some rain will happen somewhere, will affect you. Some strike has happened in certain city, will affect you. So you have to be very aware of current affairs, politically what is happening, like legally what is happening, because cigarette, every time there's a tax change.
Yeah. And I think, but do you think, those images that they put for public knowledge, does that affect the when they started doing that, and they keep changing it also? Does that affect the sale?
So if you are a new consumer, it might affect you. You might look at those images and say, okay, so the new consumers might get harmed, like, I don't want to do this. But people who are already used to it, really makes a difference to them.
Right. So, since you are from engineering background, did you face any difficulties getting a marketing internship?
Actually, marketing what? Marketing
internship?
No, not at all. Like
most of CAT takers are from engineering background.
60 to 70%, I'm sure, are engineers. So it entirely depends on how much of an inclination you're showing towards marketing. And what are your reasons to get into marketing?
What kind of questions were asked to you when you were hired for ITC?
So those questions were like, what are the brands that you know? So for example, I'm a company and I want to understand how much interest you're showing in me as a company.
Correct.
Like, what are the ads that you know? What are the brands that you know? What do you think of what do you think our competitors are doing better? What do you think we should do? So it is all about the kind of interest that you have in that company. They're gauging that. And also they would want to understand your general awareness. Like, so how did this brand do well? What kind of campaigns did they run? So it is very theoretical. They would obviously not expect you to know what's happening on the ground. If you do, if you demonstrate that, then they realize that, okay, this person need not be trained as much as the other people. So if you can demonstrate. So that is exactly why for my ITC interview, it was entirely about what I did in HEC. How did I sell? What did I sell? What did I understand from that entire experience? How can I do it better? So I think your internship will make a huge difference.
Okay.
Please don't take those 2 months as holidays. Do work because you will learn something, and you can actually talk about it in your other interviews if you don't end up getting a pre-placement offer.
Correct. Yeah. When you mentioned that we should have some ground experience sales, does that mean we have to be in push sales?
Push and pull. So if it is pull sales, you won't really learn much if you ask me.
Okay.
I think pull sales is like you're just making the product available. So distribution is something you might learn in pull sales. You just have to ensure that at a particular outlet, your product is there. And you have to ensure that the fill rate is high. So for example, an order of 100 has come, you have to ensure that you're giving at least 90, 95. And also you have to ensure that at the outlet at any given point of time, your product is available. So in pull sales, maybe that is something that you will definitely learn. In push sales, you have to ensure that, And also there'll be a lot of convincing the outlet, there'll be a lot of convincing the consumer as to why you're better than your competitors. There'll be a lot
Okay.
of convincing involved, there'll be a lot of competitor study involved. Okay, they have dropped their price to this much, I should also look at somewhere around my pricing should be there, or my promotion should be like this, or I have to pump in some money and create visibility so that even before they see my competitor, they see me and pick me up. So those
Correct.
are things that you will learn here. Like if you're a challenger brand, so the difference is you are a challenger brand or you are the main brand.
Okay.
Because I think both are fine. Like,
Yeah. So again, there are a lot of questions about like, is it really necessary to have sales? So yeah, this is
why are people
a
so
mental
afraid of
block
sales?
about that sales. Okay, मतलब marketing में जाना है तो sales करना ही है. That's why I wanted to ask you this question, is because students are having this thing like, why do we have to do sales to get into marketing? And yeah, so
Okay. So see, if you directly get into marketing, you can
right.
always, as I said, you can do your market visits and understand what is happening at the ground. Otherwise, you'll just be making a strategy which will look really good on paper, will show you
Right.
great numbers on Excel, and it might not translate. I'm not saying that is what is going to happen, but there are good chances of that happening, because you have not had, you don't have insights as to what is going to work on the ground.
Correct. Yeah.
It is so you can have the most amazing campaign, and if it doesn't translate into sales, you might not get the budget for it next year or
Right.
next month for that matter.
Correct. Yeah.
So it is only to ensure that your campaigns or what your strategy is well rounded, that you should have an understanding. I'm not saying that things will go wrong just because you've not done a sales role. It just gives you a better perspective and makes your thinking much more holistic.
Right. Tell me, is it industry agnostic marketing, or does it keep changing? So if you are right now, you're in FMCG. So tomorrow, if you shift to some other industry, say, and let's not take IT industry, that's very different. Maybe some other industry, any industry for that matter. So does the role of as a marketing person, does that change, or is it industry agnostic?
So see, the basics will remain the same, of course. Sales is sales. You have a product, you have to ensure that it reaches the right consumer, and you have to make that consumer aware of it. This is the basic thing that sales and marketing entails.
Yes.
So that will remain same across, even IT sales for that matter. That is exactly what you're doing. So the basic principles remain the same, but every time you move an industry, there will be a bit of a learning curve. So for example, I know a lot of my colleagues who have gone into e-commerce, or like Amazon, Google, or I have people who have gone into FMCD, like selling washing machines, air conditioners for that matter. So there'll be a bit of a learning curve. Also, people have gone into telecoms, like Airtel and all that. So there'll be a slight learning curve in terms of the data that you're getting. So for example, in a telco company, you will get the data every hour. In an e-commerce company, the person is clicking every second, so you get the data. That's the kind of feedback that you're getting. In FMCG, they will take 1-2 days or a week for that matter.
Right.
You have to get used to those kind of things. Like, which is very also the time when I sell. So, for example, agarbatti I'll sell during Diwali. There'll be some beverages people will sell during summer. So those kind of nuances will come. Also, the geographies that they sell in.
Correct. Yeah.
Correct. The market.
What are the books that you would recommend our audience to read right now, more about marketing, to get an idea or even to get inspired?
Okay, so you have the technical books, like Mr. Philip Kotler has written a book that everybody is aware of.
I think that's a book that once you are in MBA school, you will anyway will be reading. Anything else that more like not very theoretical, maybe something.
Correct. So I've been reading books like Deep Work, because as you said, there's a whole range of things that I have to concentrate on, and I can't be distracted. Like I can't be like, ye bhi karna, and all. I have to do one thing clearly at a time, like with focus. So I think Deep Work is a good book for people to learn about. And there's also this book called Barking Up the Wrong Tree. I think it's nice. It's a good read.
Okay. Yeah. And so these two books, these two,
and there are a lot of books which are about companies. Like the Shoe Dog, like the Nike, about companies, like what kind of strategies they used, how did they go about, coming out of doldrums, and how were they successful. So I think these books which are about companies which have done well, or how did they manage a crisis, I think it gives you a slight idea as to what you're getting into.
The book was Deep Thinking, right?
Deep work.
Okay, deep work.
So barking up.
Yeah, I've written that one, for the people to read. Yeah, okay, great. So I think, yes, it's almost time for us to wrap up, and it was an amazing session, very insightful. But before we wrap up, one or maybe a few suggestions for our CAT aspirants who are planning to get into marketing. What can they do now so that, they have a better chance to stand out?
During the interviews, you mean?
During the interview, yes. I mean, CAT preparation, of course, they have to prepare CAT for CAT. So that's something that they just have to, for the interviews, maybe.
For the interviews, so I also had gotten into SPJN, and they are very clear about, the kind of, the stream that you're getting in.
Yes, yeah. And you have to write that.
Yes, you have to prove to them. You have to prove to them. So what I had done was, even before getting into ITC, so I had looked at this campaign called Yippee.
Okay.
Yippee noodles.
Yes,
They had just come in, and they were trying to be a challenger brand to Maggie.
Correct.
So I had studied their entire campaign. How is Yippee different? So for example, they're solving a problem that people have a round pan, whereas cakes are,
square.
You have to break them just to make them fit into the pan.
Correct.
So if we had come up with this thing called, we have a round cake so that you don't have to break anything.
It's the little things, isn't it? It's the little things.
So I had studied their entire campaign, and pretty much during my interview, I had spoken about this.
Okay.
So that is how you differentiate yourself from the other candidates that you're already interested in.
But then why FMS happened? Okay, we have again come back to
so SPJN, I had gotten into a lot of colleges. The SIBM, SCM, then I had also gotten into SPJN. So you are obviously hedging your bets, right?
Correct. Obviously.
You want to get into the best possible college. So FMS, Delhi was one place I definitely wanted to go. So I'm an army kid, and I had never gone to Delhi. So I was like, what is happening?
And FMS is kind of well located near, all that you wanted to be.
So I wanted
also to be the ROI is like amazing. Yes. I mean, we'll be covering FMS.
I didn't have to ask for any pocket money from my parents because I already had 2 years of work ex, and all that money I could happily spend the way I wanted.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you all the attendees, and thank you, Preeti Puram. Thank you so much. It was a lovely session. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalyani. I'm really glad to be here. Yeah. Thank you.